train travelers to begin with, like will my train arrive on time or not, will my PNR confirm or not, and if my train ticket remains waitlisted, can I actually upgrade myself into a bus or an air or a Tatkal ticket tomorrow, so we've built solutions around this at least 4 or 5 times where we almost ran out of money, but we never ran out of the passion to continue doing what we were doing. Between pre-COVID and now, ixigo grew almost 23 times, right? And the reason why we were able to do that was we just kept doing the right thing for the customer.
Welcome to this Moneycontrol podcast on the sidelines of the India Mobile Congress right here in New Delhi. We're very delighted to have Aloke Bajpai, the founder of ixigo, the travel platform, which is now into everything from flights to trains to buses. Thank you very much, Aloke, for joining us for this podcast. You were in a session earlier with the Union Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia, where he spoke about the larger role of unicorns, that you should look beyond valuation to value. Take us through, your own journey as an entrepreneur and the larger role that unicorns, startups can play in the development of India.
I think it was a great session, Chandra, and thank you for having me here. I think the minister made 2 great points. The first one being, you need to think of entrepreneurship as a service, right? As a service to the customers, as a service to the nation, and at large, a service to all your stakeholders, right? That attitude allows you to build more empathy for, what you're doing and for who you're serving. I think in our domain, if you think of what we have done over the last 18 years, we have been in the first 12 years of our existence largely thinking of ourselves very similarly, that we are here to serve customers. In fact, our monetization was negligible in the first decade, but we had already built utility services, utility apps that started serving the underserved audiences in trains, buses, and then first-time flyers in the country. And I think the discovery for us was that if you do not ape the Western template of building companies in the Indian context, and you try to go deeper down that rabbit hole of discovering the unique problems and pain areas faced by Indians in any domain, travel obviously, we've solved a lot of those pain areas for train travelers to begin with, like will my train arrive on time or not, will my PNR confirm or not, and if my train ticket remains waitlisted, can I actually upgrade myself into a bus or an air or a Tatkal ticket tomorrow, so we've built solutions around this. But ultimately what you're doing in every business, ultimately what it does is sell peace of mind, right? Because you're not really, if you think of yourselves as someone who sells tickets, I don't think that true purpose of serving the traveler is achieved. But if you think of someone who's trying to sell peace of mind to travelers, then you're saying, okay, can I solve every moment of anxiety before, during and after the trip for you? And therefore you become more relevant over time. So I think ixigo's journey has been more about caring for all those moments of anxiety. And then somewhere along the way, we built the trust big enough to start selling tickets and monetize from that, right? So that's largely how we built it out. The other point the minister made, which was great, was that, we are at a moment of time where the government's policies are very conducive towards growing the startup ecosystem, and the dream of being a developed country by 2047, I think that itself is very inspiring right now for every Indian to pick up something that they're passionate about and serve customers in that domain with the help now of AI. So I think we are at a very sweet moment of time to leverage that.
Got it. Interesting points there, Alok. I think selling peace of mind was a very new insight, because that's how you feel when you've successfully booked a ticket to a particular destination, and it all comes together. But in terms of the overall growth for ixigo, I remember you've often said that as a company, as an entrepreneur, you have a cockroach mentality, and that's what's really helped you through the lows and the tough times. I remember at one point there were plans for ixigo to IPO. The market conditions changed. You decided not to go ahead. You came back a second time, and it's been a great run so far. I think since the time you listed, your market cap has grown 3x, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, how has that changed the mood within the company? How has that changed you as an entrepreneur? Do you look at the share price? Do you not look at the share price? How does it work for you?
So I think there are two parts to this. I mean, one is what end goal are you seeking, as a company or as an entrepreneur? And I think, we've had a very, I would say, roller coaster ride where we went through a lot of moments of not just pain and suffering, but also almost, the end of the road many times, right? I mean, at least 4 or 5 times where we almost ran out of money, but we never ran out of the passion to continue doing what we were doing and trying to do that right till the very end. So COVID was one such moment. The GFC, when we started, just a year after we started, the GFC came, and we had a financing round that didn't sort of materialize. 2008.
Yeah.
Then there was COVID, where revenue went to near zero for a few months, and I think each of those times, the only thing we did right was that instead of going and hitting the panic button and doing things which are short-term optimization, we continued building for the long term, and we said, we'll not let go anyone in our team, because if things go right, we'll still need those people, and we might need them to actually get us out of that crisis. So we were very transparent and sort of went back, and the team usually took also huge pain along with us to help us get out of it, and they out-innovated. If you look at between pre-COVID and now, ixigo grew almost 23 times, right? And the reason why we were able to do that was we just kept doing the right thing for the customer, which is during COVID, refund money, even if the money hasn't come yet from an airline, etc. But we were doing some crazy things which made sense for the customer, which may not have made sense in the short term for our P&L. But in the long term, I think they gave us a lot of, I'd say, trust and love from, those customers, and that sort of paid off. So I think what we have learned in our journey is that you will always have moments of pain, and in fact, pain and suffering, I believe, is inevitable, and also it's in a way required to bring the best out of you. So when you're starting to do well, like yes, of course, last 1 year we've had a great run. We've sort of managed to grow way faster than what most people expected us to. But I think we remain humble enough to recognize that we always have to be paranoid about the future, and the minister made a great reference to the Andy Grove quote that only the paranoid survive. Yeah. And I think our story has been one involved with several phases of reinvention. We went from being desktop to mobile first. We went from being flight meta to train utility to OTA. And today we think of ourselves more as an AI first company in many ways, right? And I think we are on the cusp of this new step function, right, in not just our industry, but every industry, where you can use it to leapfrog, or you may choose to ignore it at your own peril. And I think we've taken a very, very clear call that this phase of disruption is for us to disrupt and reinvent ourselves rather than be the disrupted.
Got it.
Yeah.
You said AI first. So, when can we expect a chatbot to completely take care of the ticketing experience from start to finish? Do you think it's still broken in some aspects? How far have we come? Because when you see demos of these AI companies, you think that the whole world is going to be running on AI. But in terms of booking a bus ticket, a train ticket, an airline ticket, how soon before it's completely done by an agent end to end, and not just a chatbot that's resolving your queries now?
Yeah. Well, I think these agentic capabilities have existed for a while. It has come to the forefront because the platforms have now, taken the mind share in the last 18 months of how you can do everything over chat. But our journey with chat began on the transformer model era and not even pre-GPT. In 2017-18, we demoed in the US at a conference, Tara, which was our predecessor to, what we've now serving millions of customers every quarter. But I think the true capabilities are not just about taking care of the booking fee. I think the pain and anxiety around making a booking is one of the smallest areas of concern for a traveler. I think it's more about making the right choices of what to book, when to book, and also post-booking. A lot of OTAs actually they believe that their job ends when a booking is consummated. In our mindset, we believe that actually our job starts at that moment, because there's just so much to do while you're in the trip to make that frictionless experience come up. So when you use ixigo, you can actually reliably manage your entire trip and journey without lifting a finger, right? Whether it's change of boarding gate or change of platform number, we will proactively inform you about it and also send you your boarding passes and take care of any kind of changes along the way. And I think that hand-holding is super critical to also worry about. So I think the true agentic AI capabilities will be those that can take care of everything right from the pre-booking stage, planning stage, till the post-booking or the servicing stage, right, in a more preemptive or proactive manner, rather than waiting for you to click a few buttons or talk to someone. We should already know that there's something wrong and try to fix it for you.
Got it. In fact, we had done a story sometime in May based on your co-founder Rajneesh Kumar.
Yes.
What he said in the earnings call then. He said chatbot Tara resolves 92% customer queries and AI agents handle 45% of calls.
Yes.
Where do those numbers stack up now? Has that only increased?
So last quarter, actually, we revised these, and now the voice AI as of June quarter, was already taking care of 60% plus of these calls, and I think incrementally we are making progress. Having said that, there's a caveat that we will never aspire to take these numbers to 100%, and the reason being that there are use cases where people actually want to talk to a real human being. Right? So imagine you are standing outside a hotel and the hotel bumped you, said did not have your booking, or you're at the airport, something went wrong last minute in your ability to check in. You actually want to talk to a real human, right? Because unless you can't tell the difference at all.
Yeah.
And so I think in the next few quarters, the platforms will provide enough, in terms of tech capabilities to make that difference less discernible between whether you're talking to an AI or whether you're talking to a human. But till the time that happens, I think there will be use cases where human involvement will be important. Having said that, every quarter, any company who's building with AI will see incremental capabilities being taken over by the AI bot. Now, we talked about only the customer-facing parts of it. There are parts that happen behind the scene where you're helping someone change a ticket or change a minor error that they made in their name, and going and talking to the airline to actually make those changes. Some parts of those are also being done agentically now, right? So it also improves and speeds up your ability to service that customer.
Got it.
Yeah.
Final couple of questions. Alok, one trend that we've really seen pick up in the last couple of years, first it was called revenge travel after the second wave of COVID, but it's actually a trend that's sustained because the current generation or the new generation, they want experiences, they crave experiences, whether it's an event, whether it's a concert, whether it's a workshop, or whether it's learning something new, or whether it's travel.
Yes.
So, you have told us often how outbound travel has taken off in a big way by Indians who are willing to spend, exploring all kinds of destinations. When will we see that similar resurgence in inbound travel? Because we've seen this happen in, bits and spurts. Like during the Mahakumbh last year, we saw a huge amount of travel happen in one particular part of the country. So we see this happening sometimes depending on festivals and occasions. But what do we need to do as a country to improve the overall numbers when it comes to inbound travel? Because in terms of transport, we are almost there. We have airlines, we have trains, we have buses now, good quality buses connecting you to different parts of the country. But what else can we do to improve inbound travel?
I think it's a great question, Chandra, and I think it needs a lot of introspection by the private sector as well as the government as to what can we do to, at least be at par with several of our Southeast Asian counterparts in terms of the number of inbound travelers and the amount of foreign exchange earnings that can come with that. I think my assessment is that, like, today we get probably around 12 million real tourists a year, and I think that most of that is still so there are two kinds largely, but there's a kind that's seeking the very high-end experience and staying in mostly the luxury or 5 stars, and there I think the some pockets of the country have outpriced themselves compared to their Southeast Asian counterparts. The second part is the middle class slash young explorer who's here to experience the spirituality or the culture, or just spend some time out after their college in a gap year or so, or and I think that part still continues to have that charm of coming to India with some amount of ability to ignore the experiential gaps that still exist at these destinations. But I think we need to up the destination experience significantly, and when I say that, it's more about how accessible are those destinations at the last mile. Yes, you might have a flight now reaching an airport, but what happens after that? How easy is it to navigate around that city, find the right cabs, etc., at the right price points, or how easy is it also to do something beyond the main attraction, right? So classic example like Goa, everybody goes there for the beach side and the laid back nature of it, but with the amount of footfalls that it has the potential to also become a destination for many other attractions that can be developed there, because you compare with a Singapore or a Bangkok, or you have multiple things to do at these places. It's not just for one thing that you end up, and I think that's one thing we need to sort of think about and do. The second thing is we need to become a country that is known for providing great hospitality and in a safe environment, because on the perceptions barometer, right, in terms of whether it's safety or whether it is quality of infrastructure, beyond I think the major hotspots, we do lack, right? So in tier 2, tier 3 towns where you might have some very unique cultural attraction, or let's say a famous temple, etc., if you think of what's happening outside that temple, or outside, let's say even in Agra, beyond the Taj Mahal, right? I think the kind of experience people go back with can be improved dramatically, right? Beyond the main attraction. So I think a lot of experiential infrastructure creation needs to happen. A lot of investment needs to come into that. I believe it is happening. I heard that there's a Disneyland coming up in NCR and so on. So I think the next 10 years will be really about that. Like you rightly said, the Gen Z and the traveler of today is seeking experiences more than anything else, right? And that is why they are willing to pay even a premium to gain those experiences, because that you've seen in COVID that life can be abruptly short for an unfortunate number of people, but today's world, people don't want to save for the next generation, but literally, experience the world right now. And if we don't develop, these experiences to the level where people are expecting, yes, people will choose to go to Vietnam or Bali or Thailand instead, because for the same price, if you can get a better experience, people will vote with their money.
Right. Yeah. Last question, Alok. From rails to trains to buses, you've sort of covered the entire gamut. AI is going to be a next, big focus, already a big focus. But what next for ixigo from a 12-month time frame? What are you going to focus on from a product services perspective?
See, I think we mentioned in the last couple of earnings calls as well that hotels is a very recent area of entry for us. We entered the hotels category about year and a half back, and I think there's still a lot of work ahead on that, in building that out and growing that over time.
In terms
So
of
I think
aggregating hotels and
aggregating and selling.
curating experiences.
We are not in experiences yet. I mean, it's largely hospitality, like hotels across the board. So I think just building out the right product, the right supply, the right experience around selling hotels and servicing the customer post-booking. I think those are areas that we have been focused on, and I think that continues to remain an important area of focus for us. But given that, at this point we are in the silent period, I'll not make any other
Will corporate
forward-looking comment.
segment be something else that you will look at?
See, I think we've at this point we've got our hands full with the stuff that we are doing. It is an interesting segment, but then like we have limited bandwidth. It's a very small team, Chandra. We are 550 people, and we have to make our choices of what we focus on at one point. So at this point, the new area of focus has been hotels and to some extent AI-based reinvention of ourselves. And I think those two areas we'll continue to double down on in the short term. Yeah.
Great. On that note, thank you very much, Aloke, for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.